The studio did not want me. They felt that and they were right, that I was not of an equal stature to Paul Newman.
In Hollywood, some stars just have a different kind of glow. For decades, Robert Redford was the gold standard. On screen, he was the hero, the heartthrob, the guy you couldn't help but root for. He had this incredible knack for creating chemistry with his co-stars, giving us some of the most memorable pairs in movie history. By all accounts, he was the ultimate professional, cool, calm, and collected in an industry famous for its massive egos and wild tempers, but behind that famous smile and those cool blue eyes, what was really going on? We love the idea that behind the scenes, things are always more dramatic. That the immense pressure of making a movie creates secret tensions and hidden conflicts. For his entire career, Redford has been famously private, letting his work do all the talking. But what if he finally broke that silence? There's a persistent Hollywood rumor, a legend really, that Redford has a secret list of 7 actors he absolutely hated working with. These aren't just little tiffs, the stories are about epic on-set battles, creative wars, and bitter rivalries. Today, we're diving into that legend. Is there any truth to it? Or is it just one of Hollywood's most durable myths? Let's break it down. First up on this supposed hate list, at number 7, is the legendary Gene Hackman, an actor known for his raw, explosive power. The story goes that their feud ignited on the set of the 1969 film Downhill Racer. This movie was Redford's baby. He was the star and the producer, and he wanted to make a quiet, intense character study about the loneliness of a competitive skier. Then, in walks Gene Hackman to play the coach. Hackman's acting style wasn't exactly quiet. If Redford was a finely tuned instrument, Hackman was a force of nature. The rumor is that Hackman's loud, confrontational approach drove Redford crazy. Where Redford wanted subtlety, Hackman supposedly challenged everything and everyone, creating a constant friction on set. The tension between them in the film, according to the legend, wasn't just acting, it was real. The story culminates with Redford being so shaken by the experience that he secretly blacklisted Hackman from any future project he was involved with. A great story, right? The only problem is, there's no real evidence to back it up. While their styles were certainly different, the idea of a secret, decades-long blacklist seems to be a piece of Hollywood folklore, a tale that makes the on-screen tension feel even more real. Coming in at number 6 is the one and only Barbra Streisand. Their movie, The Way We Were, is an all-time classic romance. The chemistry between Redford's cool, all-American Hubble and Streisand's fiery Katie is just electric. That's what makes the rumors of their off-screen relationship so shocking. The story here is that behind the romance, there was a quiet war between two superstars who worked in completely different ways. Streisand was the driving force behind the film, and she fought to get Redford as her co-star. But once filming started, their differences became obvious. Streisand is a famous perfectionist, involved in every detail, often wanting take after take to get a scene just right. Redford, on the other hand, is all about spontaneity. He likes to find the magic in the first few takes, keeping things fresh and natural. That he reportedly found Streisand's need for control to be draining, feeling it squeezed the life out of the scenes. There were no shouting matches, just a quiet battle of wills, with director Sidney Pollack caught in the middle. So, was it hate? Not really. It was the classic clash of two perfectionists at the top of their game with polar opposite methods. The tension you see on screen might just be real, but it stemmed from their work, not from genuine dislike. They never worked together again, but that's not surprising. Sometimes, even when the result is magic, the process is something you only want to go through once. At number 5, we have the intense and outspoken James Woods. This story isn't about a long, grueling film shoot. It's about a single meeting that was supposedly so disastrous, it got Woods permanently banned from ever working with Redford. The legend says it happened in the early 90s, when Redford was developing a legal thriller. Woods, known for playing smart, morally questionable characters, seemed like a perfect fit and was brought in for a meeting. What was supposed to be a creative chat about the script apparently went off the rails. The story goes that Woods didn't just discuss the script, he launched into a passionate, political monologue, challenging the film's premise and seemingly trying to prove he was the smartest guy in the room. Redford, who values quiet collaboration, was supposedly so put off by this display of ego that he immediately told his casting director that Woods was never to be considered for any of his projects, ever again. One version of the story even claims Redford wrote, "Never ever," next to Woods' name in his personal casting book. It's a fantastic story about a line being crossed. But, like the Hackman feud, it's a tale that's almost impossible to verify. It's become a piece of Hollywood lore, a cautionary tale about how a single bad meeting can kill a working relationship before it even starts. If you're finding these Hollywood legends as fascinating as we do, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're always digging into the real stories behind Hollywood's biggest myths, and you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Number 4 is a collaboration that created one of the greatest American films ever made, All the President's Men. And the actor is the brilliant, but famously difficult, Dustin Hoffman. On screen, Redford as Bob Woodward and Hoffman as Carl Bernstein were perfect. Their dynamic drove the entire film. Behind the scenes, however, they're wildly different. Acting methods created a tension that has become legendary. Redford, as the film's producer, was dedicated to absolute authenticity, sticking to the script and the facts of the Watergate investigation. Hoffman, a deeply committed method actor, saw the script as just a starting point. He believed truth came from chaos and improvisation. This difference created constant conflict. Hoffman would show up late on purpose to keep everyone on edge, change his lines mid-take, and throw in unscripted actions, like suddenly rummaging through a desk drawer. Redford, who had prepared meticulously, saw this as unprofessional and disrespectful. He was trying to keep a massive production on schedule and honor the real-life journalists they were playing, while Hoffman seemed determined to create chaos. Their arguments were a daily event. In the end, that friction created an unforgettable on-screen dynamic, but it was an exhausting, high-wire act. There was immense mutual respect for their talent, but the desire to repeat the experience? Absolutely not. Number 3 on the list is Jane Fonda, an actress Redford has shared the screen with 4 times, creating a beloved on-screen pairing from Barefoot in the Park all the way to Our Souls at Night. So how could she possibly be on this list? Well, this feud isn't about hate at all. It's a more complicated and sad story of a missed connection. The issue seems to come from Redford's famous emotional reserve. Fonda, who is incredibly open and vulnerable, has talked about having a crush on Redford for years. She hoped for a warm friendship that just never happened. She often felt he was in his own world, polite and professional, but emotionally distant. She even famously mentioned he didn't seem to like love scenes and that kissing him could feel very detached. For an actress who thrives on connection, this was a constant source of frustration. She felt that he was always in a bad mood and wondered if he secretly disliked her. The truth is likely far simpler. That famous reserve probably wasn't personal, it's just who Redford is. Their amazing on-screen chemistry was a product of pure acting talent, not a real-life rapport. This isn't a story of a feud, but one of opposite personalities and Fonda's unfulfilled wish for a friendship that never was. Number 2 is maybe the most mysterious name on this supposed list, the legendary James Coburn. The story of Redford's dislike for Coburn is one of Hollywood's deepest secrets, mostly because there's no record of them ever working together or having any kind of public fight. This one seems based entirely on whispers and guesswork. To understand why a clash might have been inevitable, you just have to look at their public personas. Coburn was the king of effortless, alpha male cool. He had a huge grin and a swagger that dominated the screen. He was a tough guy, a man's man, and that energy could be overpowering. Redford, on the other hand, built his entire career on being the quiet center of gravity, a collaborator who valued harmony. It's easy to imagine that Redford saw Coburn's brand of swagger as disruptive, the same way he supposedly found Hackman's style to be too much. The most likely scenario isn't some secret brawl, but simply that Redford, as a powerful producer, identified Coburn as a personality type he'd rather avoid. He didn't need a public fight to know that some actors, no matter how talented, just wouldn't fit in his world. This entry on the list is pure speculation, showing just how far these myths can stretch, and finally, we've arrived at number 1. The actor that Robert Redford supposedly hated the most. The name that would shatter one of Hollywood's most cherished legends. According to this myth, the actor at the very top of Redford's hate list is Paul Newman, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Hooker and Gondorff from The Sting. The idea is ridiculous. Their partnership wasn't just iconic. It was built on a genuine, deep friendship that everyone in Hollywood knew about. They were famous for the elaborate pranks they played on each other. Newman once had a wrecked car crushed into a block of metal and delivered to Redford's living room. Redford retaliated by having a 300-pound desk chopped up and reassembled inside Newman's office. This wasn't the behavior of enemies, it was the work of two guys who clearly adored each other. So, how could Newman be on this list? He couldn't. The friendship was real. The respect was real. And the hate list is a complete myth. The big secret isn't that Redford hated his best friend. The secret is that Robert Redford has never, publicly or privately, released a list of actors he hated. The entire thing is a fabrication. It's a piece of Hollywood folklore that we want to believe because it's dramatic and juicy. The truth is much more nuanced. Think about the names on this fake list. Streisand and Hoffman. They were creative and methodological clashes, not personal feuds. Jane Fonda. A one-sided story of wanting a closer friendship. Hackman and Woods. Stories of professional decisions that got twisted into legends of personal vendettas over the years. And Paul Newman? Including his name is the final clue that proves the whole thing is made up. So, what did we really learn today? We've walked through some of the wildest rumors about a true Hollywood icon, only to find that the biggest story of all, the hate list, is the one that's pure fiction. The reality is that Robert Redford built a 60-year career by being the ultimate professional in a world of giant egos. Of course, there was friction. Of course, there were actors he found difficult. But he never, ever aired that laundry in public. His famous silence wasn't hiding secret hatreds. It was a sign of his character. He chose to rise above the drama and let his incredible, timeless work speak for itself. Which of these Hollywood myths surprised you the most? Does knowing the real story change how you see these classic films? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And before you go, check out our next video, where we investigate the on-set fistfight that nearly shut down one of the biggest blockbusters of the 1980s. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.